So when I was stationed in England in the 1990s, I hooked up with some British friends. They took me to my first show, my first real, I would say, stand-up concert experience. I'd seen Iron Maiden, I'd seen Judas Priest, Scorpions, the big stadium shows. But my first real show was Prong with Mind Over Four. That band sucked balls. Anyway, but the show that really did it, the show that changed everything, was Bolt Thrower. It was on the War Master tour, and it was at the Marquee in London, and they had this band open up for them called My Dying Bride. Now, for those of you who know me, know that My Dying Bride is on my top 5 list. Bolt Thrower used to be on my top 5 list. I still listen to them quite a bit, but they'll never, in my estimation, top My Dying Bride. Anyway, so the first show that I went to with Bolt Thrower and My Dying Bride, I walked into the marquee, and right there in the front they had the merch booth, and they had if I remember correctly, because it's been a long time, they had a coat check room. I don't know why, but anyway, they had the merch booths, and so I went up to the front and I wanted to buy a T-shirt. I had only heard a little bit of Bolt Thrower at that point, but I was interested, and it was the thing to do. So I bought a T-shirt of Bolt Thrower. It was a long sleeve T-shirt, which, by the way, is a mistake. Don't ever buy long sleeves. If you do it on the internet. Don't do it at the concert. The reason I say that is because they shrink. And anyway, I didn't have that shirt for a couple of years before it fell apart anyway, because I wore it a lot. And I'm standing there, and this guy comes up to me, and he says, "So you're an American?" And I was like, wow, that's what I really like about you people from the UK. Y'all are really, really smart. And that's when I found out it was the drummer for Bolt Thrower. Yeah, so there I am buying a Bolt Thrower T-shirt, getting ready to see the band, and I'm fucking with the guy that's the drummer for the band. Well, what are you gonna do? Anyway, he was a really nice guy. Laughed about it. And then I walked down to where the concert was actually happening, where the bands were playing. And there was a hallway on the right-hand side. So when you walked in, you had the merch booth there on the left. And then there was a hallway on the right-hand side. You walk down this hallway, and it opens up, and there's a balcony up. And then you turn to your left, and there's the stage. I mean, as soon as you walk into the room, there's the stage. And I remember distinctly walking into that room and seeing this crowd of people losing their shit. And I turn and look, and the room was the lights were down. There were purple lights coming from the stage. There was smoke, and I remember seeing a guy flying off the stage. Let me say that again: flying off the stage. He was just a silhouette with all the lights. It was like a video, it was like a concert video. I could not fucking believe it. I had never seen that before. I had seen stage divers at the Prong show. The only other show that was standing room only that I'd ever seen was Metallica, and this was in North Dakota, and so there wasn't a lot of stage diving. To hell, there wasn't even a lot of moshing. It was just people milling about. It was crazy. But I had walked into this room, smoke everywhere, and this silhouette of a guy flying through the fucking air, and purple lights and strobes. I knew immediately. I knew immediately that I was in a different place, that this was my place, that these were my people. So, My Dying Bride's playing. At one point, something happened with their equipment, or it might have been the power, but everything got shut down. They had to reset. And while that happened, I'm standing in the crowd at the back. I had never heard the band before. And I'm standing at the crowd. I'm at the back, and they're waiting for the band to get their shit together. and all of a sudden the audience starts singing soccer songs. I didn't know it was a soccer song, but they started singing these songs. And I found out later it was some soccer song. Holy fuck, dude. It was as if there was this constant undercurrent in this crowd of unity. Some sort of unity. Whether it was because of the music or because of their fascination with soccer or whatever it was, there was just this unity. And the soccer song proved it to me. At that point, it proved it to me. My Dying Bride got back up there. They finished up their set. I heard a lot of music out of them that I appreciated while I was at the show. I found out more about them later. Now they're one of my top 5. Bolt Thrower came on. Holy fuck. The way to describe Bolt Thrower is a mid-tempo death metal band that is like watching a train wreck that lasts the entire set. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that their entire set of music is so thunderous and so intense while being mid-tempo and tuneful that it was the most violent thing. At that point, it was the most violent thing that I'd ever seen. It was fascinating. It was fascinating. I was thoroughly entertained. I was out of my mind in pain. That came from the boot that I got caught across the face. I was up against the stage at one point, and this guy flew off the stage, and his boot come around. He didn't mean it. It was an accident. It was part of the show. His boot came around and caught me right across the face. I chipped a tooth. I spit out chunks of tooth. It was ridiculous. During that show, I saw a guy jump off the PA system and telescope his leg. You could hear him screaming over the band. That's pretty fucking painful. I saw a guy and a girl standing on the edge of the pit. They went to kiss each other, and a stage diver flew off and hit the guy in the back of the head and caused his face to mash into her face. That's what I saw. When I went into the bathroom after I was spitting chunks of teeth out, it was just the one tooth, but I was spitting chunks of my tooth out into my hand. I went into the bathroom and I was like, "Fuck, dude, I don't even know what's happening." I go in there and this other guy, he's carrying a dude in who got knocked the fuck out in the mosh pit, and he says, "Are you all right, mate?" And I told him, I said, "Yeah, I broke my tooth." He pulls out the plate, his front 2 teeth. He pulls them out. And he shows them to me, and he told me, I don't remember what band it was, but it was a concert injury. So this was the norm. The entire time I was in England, I met some amazing people whose names I never learned. But I met them in the weirdest places. I met a guy when I dove off the stage at the Prong show, and I landed on my elbow, and I went to the bathroom. I met a guy who had all of his belongings in the bag that he was carrying with him. And he recalls seeing Iron Maiden in the Marquee in London before they were a thing. I met a Kerrang journalist who was in his mid-50s wearing an Iron Maiden t-shirt, blue jeans. He had the t-shirt tucked in, and he was wearing a corduroy jacket. And he was at a Napalm Death show. I met a guy who had long, flowing blonde hair, and he had the tiger, mustache, the one that goes down like this. I met him at a Pantera concert in the mosh pit where he and I almost went to blows, and then we were like, "Oh, dude, come on, man. We're supposed to be having fun." And every show after that, I'd see the guy, high five. I don't know the guy's name. I never fucking got to talk to him. Then there was the girl with the 3-foot mohawk or whatever it was. It was this huge fucking mohawk. I saw her at a show in London. It was Agnostic Front. It was Agnostic Front, St. Vitus Cathedral, and this Japanese grindcore band called SOB. She had this big ass mohawk, and then I saw her after she came out of the bathroom, and she had apparently washed out whatever it was that caused the mohawk, and her hair was long, and she was beautiful. And we high fives. That was it. All I can say is that my experience in the underground music scene at the time in the United Kingdom in the 1990s was fascinating. I saw bands like Impaler open for Malevolent Creation. I saw Cancer with Pestilence. I saw, I saw shit bands like Mind Over Four open for Prong. Then I would see bands like Scat Opera open for Agnostic Front. There was a band out of Oxford that I really liked a lot too. They were called I'm not going to be able to remember their name now. They had it was Madam Adam. Madam Adam. I used to have their demo on cassette, and they were an amazing band. I remember hearing the mythology of the lead singer, that he had walked out of an insane asylum and started a band. He was actually in the band Seven Church, and he was a fixture in the Oxford music scene at the time in the 1990s, as were Scat Opera and some of the other bands, Critical Mass. For anybody watching this video, you'll know. Anyway, what I learned from my 3 years in England is a deeper appreciation for the music beyond just the level of buying an album, putting it into a whatever format it was, whether it was vinyl or CD or cassette at the time, and a deeper appreciation of the bands and the pure, unbridled love of that music. It really, really, really sparked a higher level of interest in all of the music that I listen to. So if you ever get an opportunity, go out there on YouTube. You'll be able to find some videos from the 1990s. Go see if you can find Bolt Thrower live. I definitely recommend seeing My Dying Bride live. You will not be able to see him in the United States, but if you get a chance, go on YouTube and look up some of their live videos. But what I would highly recommend is just get out there and start to explore the music that you listen to. Find that passion, whether it's buying T-shirts, buying the albums, and just sitting around listening to it. Just grab onto that passion in whatever way possible and don't let go of it. So this is the last Metalface Monday for 2018. Next year, we'll talk a little bit about some American metal because I just got done talking a lot about some of the European stuff. So we'll talk a little bit about the American metal bands that I love. Peace. Happy New Year. Love you all. Metalface.